What's up guys, Celestia here again, bringing you another video. This time it's a little bit different from my previous videos. You get to see my face when I'm not live streaming, and I'm actually going to be talking about some stuff that have been confirmed through like the Ultimania thing for FF7 Rebirth. So if you guys don't know, the Ultimania is basically like a book that comes out for each part. So Remake had it, and we usually get it like a year later, but it usually gets translated like roughly, so we kind of know what it says. And it usually tells you some things, it clarifies a few things, and it also kind of comes up with things that might be happening in the next game. So for example, I was speculating this when I was actually playing through Rebirth and talking to my stream and stuff about it. So as you guys can see on the screen here, we've got some gameplay elements. This is from Audrey on, is it Aita Kimochi on Twitter. I'm never calling it X, by the way, it's Twitter. And it shows you some stuff about the Ultimania, because it has to be paraphrased, because apparently you're not allowed to just post full things from it. So basically, looking at this, what we were talking about, where you can actually, in part 3, land the airship. I don't actually think they're going to land the airship in these games. Because if you guys have ever played the original, there is a bit where you can lower a rope down. So like Tifa actually grabs a rope on the high wind. And there's bits where you parachute into Midgar as well, so potentially, if there's going to be bits that you can't actually land in Reunion / Reunited / whatever it's going to be called, it'll basically be some sort of thing where you can just lower something down. Because if you guys have played Rebirth, the whole area is just, it's not a flat surface like the old game used to be. So there's just going to be like terrain everywhere. So there's not going to be specific flat patches that you can land the high wind on. Unless it's maybe like the runways and stuff that you can land the Tiny Bronco on. But for example, the Tiny Bronco strip is just like one area in each section. So if you want to fly the high wind around, you're going to have to land in one specific place. Which I think might be a little bit weird to do that for an open world game, which they are. So the weapons, as you can see, the next line, the weapons is something I was very interested in. Because when we actually see these weapons, these ones right here, apparently these are infant weapons, which I thought as well. When I first saw them, I was like, these definitely aren't going to be the weapons that we fight in part 3. Because they're way too small. It literally is just like the size of a whale when it comes out of the reactor. And yeah, it is nowhere near the size of a weapon that we normally see. Because how to portray giant weapons roaming the world. Because if you guys have played the original, you've got Ultimate Weapon. I think it's either Ultima or Ultimate. I think it's Ultimate. Ultimate Weapon, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire. Doesn't really roam the world, but I think since they have expanded on everything in Rebirth, they probably will expand on Sapphire's thing in this, just so it's not, I'm going to attack Junon and get my head blown off. But, because it was actually one of the coolest weapons, because it has like armor that comes up over its face, and it kind of like swims through the ocean. The funny thing is, when I first played the original, I thought that Sapphire Weapon was Emerald Weapon, because when you go underwater, it doesn't look like Emerald Weapon has a head. But yeah, that was just my childhood. But anyway, the weapons are ginormous, like in the games. Your characters are like the size of Diamond Weapon's toenail. So it'll be very interesting to see how they handle those fights, because the biggest thing we fight in Rebirth is like Bizarro set. Well, I think it's Sephiroth Reborn. And you climb up him in like a mini cutscene. So potentially might be more of that. So it might incorporate some things from like Shadow of the Colossus, which would actually be really cool. And traversing the ocean floor. So we have a new level of the game. So we'll have skies, because we'll be able to fly. We'll have the lower kind of middle area, and then we'll have the ocean. So I wonder how much they will actually let us explore the ocean, because Emerald Weapon will be patrolling the ocean, I assume, if they're going to do that. And they can't really just have it as an open area unless it's like really clear, because there was only a few things that you did on the ocean in the original. You found the key for the temple. I can't remember what the actual key was called, but it's just like the key that activated something in the Temple of the Ancients. No, in the Forgotten City. And then you found the Crash Gelnica, which had Hades and stuff on it, and you fought Reno and Rude and things like that on it. But it would be interesting to see how they do the ocean part of the game. But the weapons is the thing I'm most excited about. We had a discussion on my stream about like the high wind and weapons and things like that. We didn't actually discuss anything to do with the ocean, but I believe that the weapons are probably the thing that most people are excited about. Me, I'm 100% excited about it. If any of you guys have actually seen little Easter eggs in Rebirth, there's actually signs all over the place of, I think it's Emerald Coast and like Ruby Desert or something. they show like posters that literally look, I'll show them on screen just here, they show posters that literally look like the weapons. I saw them a few times and I was like, oh, that's quite a cool Easter egg, just referencing Emerald and Ruby. But when you actually look at the pictures, they look like the weapons, which is really cool. It's a really cool detail. But I hope that they actually do the weapons justice, because that was one thing I was worried about when it came to them doing the weapons. Because as soon as I saw this weapon, I was like, yeah, that's not big enough. But infinite weapons from what I've seen on this Ultimania thing, and we'll go to some of the other parts of this as well. So continuing the information about summons and like big weapon things. The Hamaguchi actually says that there's still 4 summons from the OG that have not been included in FF7 Remake yet. So we've actually got quite a lot of the summons so far. And obviously one of the ones that everybody's waiting for is Knights of the Round. I've been discussing this. This is 100% going to be like a, what do you call it? One of the artifacts that starts like a giant quest line, and we're going to have to battle like I think it's 13 or 14 of them. Like the knights. It's going to be amazing. I really hope they do this justice, because everything else, like Rebirth, I haven't really done like a review on Rebirth, but I would say Rebirth is like an amazing game. It's probably my game of the year so far. But the end game stuff kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. Like the Chadley, like I've been doing the Bonds of Friendship for like so many people on my Patreon, but those VR missions need to get in the bin. They need to do away with a lot of them, or like tone them down a bit, because I do not want to see, like in the next game, I don't want to just be in VR constantly. If they make it like you can change the way that VR looks, like make it so you can change the background to be like a forest or like an ocean or just somewhere out in the world, maybe that would be a bit better. But look, when you're just stuck in the VR room and you just see all that VR crap all over the place, it's not fun, especially when you have to do like, how many missions were there in VR? Like way too many. But I hope that this isn't just another like VR summon that you fight, because that's basically been what we've done with every summon so far, apart from Gilgamesh. But hopefully this is another kind of cool thing that they can do with this. So he hopes he can live up to the expectation for this one in particular. I really hope so as well, because for FF7 Rebirth, the team tried to match the areas where summoned sanctuaries appear to relate to the lore of the area. For example, Bahamut in Cosmo Canyon, Odin and Nibelheim, etc. And it was kind of try to fit pieces of the puzzle together, which is really cool. I'm wondering where they're actually going to put Knights of the Round though. Like, is that just going to be in the northern area, like near the crater? And then these are the ones that we haven't actually got yet. So Knights of the Round, Hades, Bahamut, Zero, and Typhon. I actually forgot about Typhon. I'm trying to even remember what Typhon looks like in FF7. I have no idea. I'm going to have to go back and have a look, because I do not remember. I remember Bahamut Zero, because that was actually one of the coolest ones. Hades, really good, because it does a lot of stats effects. I'm wondering how that would actually work in these games, though. Because a lot of the things in these games, apart from just like normal enemies, they don't really have a lot of status effects that you can use on them. Like, most of the time, you can maybe use stop on certain bosses, or slow, or like D-Brave and D-Faith and things like that, but I'm curious to see how they'll use Hades, especially if you have to fight it, because if you have to fight it, putting a ribbon on is just going to be stupid. Hades isn't going to be able to do anything to you. Knights of the Round, when we actually have to fight it, that's going to be hilarious. It's going to be so much fun to fight that thing, especially if we have to like fight each knight in like a wave. Please don't make it a VR mission like Bonds of Friendship, where it's just like 13 waves right after each other, because that's just boring. Like, we've done so many of these VR missions. Just make this like a really fun kind of proto-relic quest, where you go on a quest like to different areas in the map. We know where the actual Knights of the Round materia was in the original. It was kind of like northeast, like in the big northeast corner of the map. Hidden island that you couldn't really see. You had to use a golden chocobo to get onto it. And yeah, this would be pretty interesting to see with how they're going to do it. But I hope it's like a big quest line that's really cool. I have faith in them so far, considering how much they've actually done with Rebirth. And I was blown away with literally everything in Rebirth, apart from the end game stuff with the VR. But that doesn't bring it down in my eyes, because I've done those missions like a million times now for other people, and they're pretty easy once you get used to them. But it's just getting your thing set up so you can actually do it. So on to the further part of this news roundup, I guess. So there is a couple things that I want to touch on. I can't actually find the post that explains about Cloud, but there was a bit at the end where, spoilers by the way, if you haven't played the game or haven't seen any FF stuff for like 25 years, however long it's been, Aerith dies, and then Cloud holds her and he's like flashing in and out, and you see him speak, but you don't actually hear it. when I saw that during my playthrough, I was like, he's literally just saying stuff from the previous game, like the OG FF7, where he's saying like my eyes are burning, I think my throat's dry, stuff like that. She's never gonna like speak or like laugh or whatever again, things like that. I was actually interested to see that that's actually true, and those they actually confirmed that that's what he's saying in those bits that you can't see. And then this part here, so Aerith's fate, they're kind of leaving up to like us because they don't really want to spoil anything yet. So we have Aerith's fate. It's hard to tell whether she lives or dies. Well, duh, because there's like multiple well, not even timelines, it's multiple worlds where there could be an Aerith out there somewhere. We see basically Aerith's funeral, essentially, because we don't really see Aerith die in this game. But in my opinion, her funeral is the part where Cloud and her are going through the market, like laughing and chatting to each other. And then she gives him the white materia, pushes him through the portal. Sephiroth comes to the door. That's basically where she dies. Like, as a player to us, like that's where she literally dies. We believe that obviously there's multiple different worlds, so there could be an Aerith in those other worlds. But if Sephiroth is going around killing all those different Aeriths to stop Aerith from stopping him from casting Meteor and all that sort of stuff, she's probably dead, and she's probably in the live stream, and that's why Cloud sees her there. But based on what we see, it can lead to different interpretations. However, what is confirmed is the party sees something completely different from Cloud. This was the part that I was actually excited about, because when we first do it, I actually said this when I played the game. Everybody has a limit break but Cloud, because Cloud thinks that he's saved Aerith. So he doesn't actually, he's not in a heightened emotional state, so he doesn't have a limit break at the start. And that's confirmed here. So the party fights Jenova with full limit breaks because of anger, except for Cloud, and Barrett even says that this is a battle of mourning her. There is a scene where Cloud is holding Aerith and speaking something, but it's drowned out by the noise, so we didn't know what they said. After the fight at the Forgotten Capital, Aerith appears next to Cloud, but Tifa cannot see her. Party seems to be sitting on the edge of the lake where Aerith literally was laid to rest in the original game. It's unknown how and where Aerith came from to aid Cloud in the last fight against Sephiroth. I believe that that was maybe just another Aerith. I don't think it was just like Mind Aerith. I think that was actually an Aerith from another timeline, or, you know, like how some people have been coining this term like Omni Aerith or like Livestream Aerith, where it's the one that kind of knows everything. I believe it's that one. Is the Aerith at the ending actually alive, or is she from the livestream, or is she just a hallucination? Clearly she's not alive. I don't know why that's even there, because she's dead. No one else can see her. It's literally just Cloud, unless she's in another dimension and he's able to speak to her, because he can see the crack in the sky, so maybe he can like see through the dimensions now. It's all up to our interpretation, but it's kind of cool that they've put it down here. The world where Zack is alive, or the world where Aerith and Cloud appear in the Sector 5 suns has a crack in the sky. Does it mean to signify the end of the world, or question mark? One of the things I actually was really interested in was the part where, I almost bit my tongue there, was the part where you see Zack at the end of the game and he's sitting in the church, because it looks like that's actually the world where Cloud and the gang is. So I think Zack's actually in their world now, and that was actually my prediction from Remake, that they were going to bring Zack into their world so that you can actually use him as a party member, because it's a bit weird giving you Zack to play at the end of the game with like a tiny tutorial and not really much else, and not really being able to use him anywhere else apart from the VR mission where you use him. And I 100% think that after them showing you that little bit that you can play him with, he's 100% going to be in the next game to actually be playable. I know we're going to get Sid and Vincent, but we have lost a character with Aerith, so potentially they could just add Zack in there as like a Aerith replacement. Obviously he won't have healing spells and things like Aerith does, but I'm really interested to see that. That's probably one of the most things I'm interested in to see in this whole thing, like what they're doing with Zack, and if they're going to let him live. I don't think they will, because apparently Advent Children is still canon, so he can't really live, which is very weird. But yeah, there's a lot of questions in this Ultimania thing. So if you guys kind of like this video and you like discussing with me, leave your comments down below, because I want to actually know what your guys' thoughts are about like the ending and like how Zack's going to be used. If you're excited about the weapons and things like that. And yeah, let me just know in the comments like kind of what you guys are excited about. And if you like this video, let me know, because I will see if I can follow the Ultimania stuff. I don't really want too much spoilers about what's going to happen in the next game, because with Rebirth, I actually kind of went in blind. I didn't really watch any trailers or anything like that. I just wanted to experience it. But if you like it, I might have a look at some of the other Ultimania stuff and see if there's any cool stuff we can pick out of it and have a chat about. But that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you liked this format. If you did, leave a like, share the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.